Welcome to The Author Show, where we feature new authors and books, from fiction to self-help and everything in between. You'll find it all at theauthorshow.com. That's theauthorshow.com. And now let the show begin.
Hi, this is Linda Thompson, your host for The Author Show. Today's feature, The New Rain, is for all of you who love fantasy fiction. Author M.L.Ruscsak joins us today to tell us about her new novel and why she likes the fantasy genre. Melissa, welcome to The Author Show.
Thank you, Linda. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Melissa, will you give us a quick overview of The New Rain?
The New Rain starts off with Princess Nisha and her 18th birthday coming into trying to find out what really happened to her parents 3 days after her birth, as well as figuring out how to rule a kingdom that she's never stepped foot in.
When developing the idea for your book, were you picturing any specific type of reader or age group?
The funny thing is, when I started this, I wanted the reader to be around the age of 13, which is my daughter's age. By the time I got halfway through, it's more for ages 16 through 40.
That's quite a range. So this is your first novel. Do you feel that there is any other author who may have influenced your writing style?
I have a plethora of authors that I go to and read from Anne Bishop and her novels to Shannon Hale and her young adult novels. So they all have influenced something within my writing style.
What do you feel is the inspiration for your storyline in The New Rain?
It has to be between my daughter, who inspires me to write Princess Nisha and her story, and my husband with more of the stronger male characters.
Will any of your characters come back to us in a sequel or a series?
They will in the fourth and final book. The second book, they will not be mentioned.
You say that you're planning 4 books, and the series is titled Of Light and Dark. I want to ask,
yes,
you spell light, L-I-T-E, and dark, D-A-R-K-E. Why did you decide to do that?
It's a play on words, but it's also the name of the countries. Light is for the light bearers, or the fae that produces the lighter, like healing powers and can manipulate the sun and grow flowers, where dark has your darker phase, and anything that goes bump in the night, that's where their powers come from.
Are your characters modeled after people you know, or are they straight from your imagination?
They are straight from my imagination. I don't know anyone like these characters.
What is it about the fantasy genre that drew you to it?
That is my go-to reading style for letting my mind wander. Whereas if I want a historical fiction, that's more of I need to work my mind. So writing for fantasy, I'm more relaxed.
Interesting. But historical fiction has some foundation and some base. When you're writing fantasy, I mean, you're just pulling ideas out from the air because what you're writing about really doesn't exist. How do you do that? What kind of research do you put into coming up with the story in your book?
My research consists of going through all the mythological characters and seeing which ones I want to incorporate, from fairies and elves to Manticore and Hippocampi.
Interesting. So where is this mythological country that your main character has to come in and rule?
It's on a star. So if you go from Earth here and you look at the stars, I picked one, and the country is within one of those stars.
I'm kind of astounded here, so I've got to ask next is, what goes through your mind when you're coming up with stuff like this?
Well, a lot of different things, and my family loves astrology, stars, mythology. My daughter loves Greek mythology, and everything has a base within stars. So I'm like, I don't read many stories that it's based on a star. Everything's based on a planet. So I was like, why not? Let's try it.
What a marvelous concept. I think that's just great. Tell me, I'm kind of astounded here, so I've got to ask next is, what goes through your mind when you're coming up with stuff like this?
Well, a lot of different things, and my family loves astrology, stars, mythology. My daughters loves Greek mythology, and everything has a base within stars. So I'm like, I don't read many stories that it's based on a star. Everything's based on a planet. So I was like, why not? Let's try it.
What a marvelous concept. I think that's just great. Tell me, the graphic on your book cover is a bit eerie, at least it was to me. Will you share with us what this graphic means in relation to your storyline and why you chose it?
The publisher chose the first cover. However, it's supposed to be Princess Nisha during a battle with one of the not-so-friendly characters, which actually takes place about 3/4 of the way through the book.
Will you share one thing in your book that you'd like your readers to remember?
This book has intentional wordplay and intentional misspellings. There's a reason for it. I don't want to discourage the reader, but there is a reason to my madness.
As an editor, that would drive me up a wall. So is there a message in your book for readers?
Message, not so much, other than just have fun. But it does have a very female, strong character throughout the series.
If you compare The New Reign with any other, what would that other book be?
The closest thing I can come up with is Shannon Hale's The Goose Girl series, just basing on the strong female characters.
What makes The New Reign stand out in a crowd?
It's not just about fairies or elves or one type of fae. They are all there. Every mythological creature is somehow involved within the series.
You mentioned your daughter and your husband. Do you have family members or friends who read your manuscripts and offer feedback prior to publication?
My daughter is my first editor. She reads every word before it goes to the publisher's editor. My mom reads every word before my daughter.
What kind of feedback have you received from readers of your book so far?
I'm very lucky as I sent out about 10 to 20 copies pre-released, and all the feedback has been positive. The readers that don't understand that the wordplay and misspellings are intentional drives them up the wall. But as I said, it is intentional.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about the wordplay. And without giving anything away, if it drives them up a wall, does at some point towards the end of your book, does the reader figure out just what you were doing with that?
Yes, they do. It happens in the epilogue of the final book, which I've already wrote, which is strange because I don't have any other book wrote past the sequel.
So you're telling me we have to read 4 books before we figure out that it isn't that you can't spell, it's intentional, right?
Yes, Linda, it is. I love thinking outside of the box, and I'm a good what-if or mind-blowing author that everything that you read, there's a reason for. And everything that you read, you have to think twice about it.
Oh my gosh, our listeners are going to love this book. So tell me, where can we learn more about you and where can we purchase The New Reign?
Currently, it's sold only online at all online retailers. And I do have a website. It's of dark, and it's at myfree.website.com.
Okay, and to make it clear, Of Light and Dark is spelled OFLITEANDDARKE, so make sure you get that correct. Melissa, I have really enjoyed talking with you today, and I really want to thank you for taking time to introduce us to The New Reign and your Of Light and Dark series. We have a lot of listeners who are drawn to fantasy fiction, and I'm sure they are going to be very interested in your book. When you publish the next one in your series, will you come back and chat with us again?
I would be honored to.
Melissa wrote the following in her book synopsis. Lives entwine, sometimes things or parents do come back to hurt their children, and sometimes those hurt make them stronger. And that led me to research the reviews online, and I found some phenomenal ones. So I urge you to check out Melissa's book, buy it, and get caught up in the fact that she really can spell. It's just intentional. Thank you so much for listening. Please visit theauthorshow.com to listen to other featured authors. These interviews are available to book buyers worldwide on demand every day, 24/7. And for those who like audiobooks, please check out our audiobooks at theaudiobookmarket.com. If you have written a book and would like to be a guest on the show, visit theauthorshow.com, complete the interview request form, and we will contact you shortly thereafter. The Author Show is a great way to market your book by getting in front of your target audience with a high-quality interview that will make a real impact. Please visit us again as we continue to bring you great books and interesting authors on The Author Show.
Thanks for listening to The Author Show.